Good morning, friends, or good evening, depending on what time of day you happen to be watching this. I spent a good portion of last week tidying up in my library, and I've realized I have absolutely no more space for books. I have completely filled every bookcase. I've overfilled many of them. However, does that stop me? Of course not. And so, I am very pleased to have just received this Nightworms package. Well, I did indeed just receive this Nightworms package. This is the November 2025 package. As you know, every month I get one of these wonderful black pouches from the Nightworms company. And also, as you know, if you've been around here for a while, I like to open these up right here, live to camera, and share with you all whatever's inside. There's always 2 books and some extra little goodies. I never know what it's going to be. It's still sealed, obviously, so you will be discovering at the same moment as I do what I have received. Just a bit of bookkeeping, of course, as I open this up. There will be purchase links for these books right down there in the What's It. If you happen to be interested in either of these for yourself, that's a great way to get it while also supporting my work here on this channel. Using my links really does help me a lot. Down there is also where you can find out about my publications, my other projects. You can subscribe, ring the notification bell, give me the thumbs up if you like the video, all of those wonderful things. There's a button you can share with your friends, you can leave comments, all wonderful things to do. But what we're going to do today is, in fact, without further ado, to just discuss these books. So let's get right to it. The first one out, came with this little goodie bag. This is the goodie parcel that has all the other stuff than the books. I'll get to that in a moment. But the first book is called The Night Is Not For You. It's by Eman or Eman Quota. I'm sure I'm butchering this name. It's E-M-A-N, surname Q-U-O-T-A-H. So, however you would pronounce that. And my apologies to the author for not knowing how to pronounce it correctly. I would look it up, but as I say, I discover these live to camera. I'm not really able to look that up right now. The title then goes on with a subtitle. It says, The Night Is Not For You, It Has Always Belonged to Her. So we'll have to see who she is. Who is this her we're talking about? I'm unfamiliar with the book. I'm unfamiliar with the author as well. So I have no idea, but we'll read the back and we'll see what it says. It tells us, when her sense of safety is shattered, a young girl realizes she must become something untamable, even otherworldly, to find freedom in this visceral coming-of-age horror debut. Well, that's a debut, that's why I'm not familiar with the author. It then goes on to say, a man's body is found viciously murdered behind a neighborhood corner store, sending shockwaves through the tight-knit community. All that the victim's family and bystanders want is to make sense of this brutal crime and move on with their lives. All 7-year-old Layla wants is a pet donkey. To her, a donkey is the epitome of freedom, the ability to think for herself, go anywhere by herself, and live an independent life. Not quite sure how a donkey accomplishes all of those things, but I guess that's 7-year-old logic, so it makes sense in that sense. It then goes on to say, the killings continue and rumors fly of supposed hoof prints and a woman with hair like black silk. The ambiguous messages in lipstick and the sweet smell of perfume at the crime scenes cause the men to suspect the women around them. As Layla's world unravels, she realizes she must grow into the type of woman she's always dreamed of becoming. A woman with sharp instincts. A woman who cannot be tamed. So this tells me a lot about what's going on, but it doesn't quite tell me exactly what's going on. I'm guessing, and I could be completely wrong here because I know exactly as much as you do at this point, I'm guessing that there's some sort of a werewolf kind of a story, or maybe even a were-donkey kind of a story, given what we've read here, and that this character, this 7-year-old Layla, is, if not the monster who's doing the killings herself, that she's somehow connected to the monster, that she's going to become another monster, something along those lines, perhaps. I could be completely off the mark, but that's the sense that I'm getting. It does sound like an interesting one. And so even though I don't know anything about it other than what I've just read, I've never heard of or read the author before, I've certainly never heard of the book before, I am looking forward to giving this one a try. It sounds intriguing. It sounds like it could go in any number of directions, and if it lives up to its own description, it should be an enjoyable read. That brings us to our second book, which is a hardcover. This one is called Demon Song by Kelsey Yu. This is another author I'm unfamiliar with, and of course another book I'm unfamiliar with. It doesn't really tell us a whole lot based on the cover, although I like the cover art. It's quite intriguing. All it says on the back, other than some quotes of praise, is places like this have a history, desires, and this one is famished. But presumably there's a description on the flap, and there is, and it tells us the same thing. Places like this have a history, desires, and this one is famished. And then it goes on to say, Megan and her mom are on the run after narrowly escaping the clutches of an abusive man who dragged them from Portland to Beijing. With few options, Megan's mom turns to an old friend who offers them room and board in Huihuang Opera Theater in exchange for cleaning the ancient building. Between her rusty Mandarin and constant reminders that she's an outsider, Megan struggles with loneliness until she meets Christy, the glamorous young lead in the operatic adaptation of The Monkey King and the White-Boned Demon. Soon, Megan's free time is split between reading a battered copy of the Chinese classic that inspired the opera and her budding new friendship. Christy's love of singing brings out Megan's long-buried ambitions. But the opera house has its secrets. The opera houses have their secrets, either metaphorical ghosts or some people would believe literal ones because of just the kinds of things that happen in opera houses, and frequently they're old historic buildings. But never mind all that. Let's go on. It says, the opera house has its secrets. There are passages within the walls that shouldn't be there. And the more Megan delves into that old book, the more the myths begin to bleed into real life. As Megan finds it increasingly difficult to separate reality from folklore, she must uncover a decades-old mystery to discover the true, horrifying secret of the opera house before it casts its hungry eyes on her. So this one also sounds right up my alley. It sounds like it sets up like a fairly stereotypical, quintessential Gothic, where we've got these people out of place going to this old building. Usually it's an old manor house. In this case, it's an opera house. But I think that's a twist that I particularly like because I'm kind of an opera nerd. I like going to the opera house, so I'm going to like that aspect of this novel, I think. And then I don't know where it goes from there. I don't know if it's ghosts. I don't know if the opera house itself has a sort of evil in it. But either way, it sounds like there's some kind of a supernatural element or a supernatural evil that the characters must contend with in sort of Gothic novel fashion. All of which sounds quite intriguing. It really does sound right up my alley. Like I said before, I've never read the author before, never even heard of the author before, but based on the description, I am quite looking forward to this one too. And so both of these novels sound like they at least have the potential to be winners. I will, of course, review them whenever I finally get around to reading them. I do, as a matter of fact, and you should subscribe and ring the notification bell so you don't miss it, I do review all of the books that I read in monthly sort of mass review videos. Sometimes I do deep dives and talk about books one by one. If you're interested in hearing my thoughts once I've read them, stick around. But just to finish up this video, we still have this little goodie pouch, and there is also this beverage in the bigger pouch. So let's talk about all of these briefly, and then we will temporarily part ways until our next video. So this beverage, this is from Riddle's Tea Shop. Several of the beverages included in the Nightworms packages have come from them. This one is called The Witch's Harvest. So it's a tea, and if I read the description on the back, this says black tea, white tea, blueberries, natural peach flavor, natural blueberry flavor, peach pieces, apple pieces, natural caramel flavor, apricots and marigold flowers. Sugar-free, gluten-free, and dairy-free tea blend. I am usually more of a coffee drinker than a tea drinker, but every once in a while, I have to admit, I do like a good tea from time to time, and so I always like getting these little samples in the Nightworms package. The rest of the stuff, the flat paper things, will be in this little pouch. The first of those is a bookmark with very stylized text on this side. It says Demons Within in very elongated lettering. It also on this side says Nightworms, November 2025. And we see demon arms emerging from something or from someone. So we've got some demon-themed stuff. I don't know. I guess this one's called Demon Song, and it could be a demon in the opera house. This one did not make me think demon specifically based on its description, but it certainly could be, or we could be thinking, with the title of this package, we could be thinking of demons sort of metaphorically. Well, time will tell, I suppose. The next item is a sort of, I was going to say postcard. It's not a postcard. It's a little bit bigger, and it's not meant for mailing. It's an artwork. We have somebody standing in front of this, it clearly goes with Demon Song, and we have this person standing in front of this ghost or demon or operatic character or something. On the back it says, artwork by Mia Minnis, inspired by Demon Song by Kelsey Yu. So it's an art card, sort of an art print. And that's usually not what comes in these. There's usually, you know, the bookmarks and stickers and book plates and things. These art prints are a new inclusion, and I kind of like it. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with it. I will maybe keep it inside the book, or I'll maybe put it somewhere as a piece of art. Either way, it's kind of nice. I like this style of artwork. The next item to come out is an autographed book plate, and I recognize a letter E, so presumably that belongs here to The Night Is Not For You. I'll tuck that in the cover there. I'll fix it later. I do always like, there's always one or sometimes two book plates, always a wonderful thing. I collect rare and autographed books, so it's nice to get these, maybe not directly autographed, because I understand shipping costs and all that, but the book plates are a nice touch. The next item is our sticker. As I mentioned before, there's always a sticker, and if you're a sticker person, they tend to be nice ones. This one is a skull with little ghosts and mushrooms reading books inside the skull. This is one of the ones that I like. I usually like the stickers. I think this is one of the better ones to my taste, so that's nice. Next is another autographed book plate. This one is Kelsey Yu, so that belongs to Demon Song. I'll tuck that in there. So both of them are autographed. That's lovely. Next we have the little pamphlet that just tells us what all of the items are supposed to be. And then I think there's one more. Yes, one more item is another sticker. We have, seems like a demon sort of reading a book, or a beast reading a book, or a witch reading a book, or something of the sort. And the book there says, I should really go to bed, but the demons compel me. If by demons you mean the demons that make you keep reading a really good book well past your bedtime and then suffer the next day from undue exhaustion, I have those demons too, so I quite understand and relate to that. Anyway, that is everything. That's 2 books, both of which sound quite intriguing to me. I'm looking forward to diving in and seeing how those hold up and what they deliver for us. I always like the extra little things. The book plates especially, the stickers are lovely, especially if you're a sticker kind of a person. I suspect some people probably struggle to figure out what to do with all of the stickers if they've subscribed for a while, but I suppose if they've subscribed for a while, they have figured out what to do with those stickers, so it's always nice to get them. Anyway, I'm sort of prattling on. I got up stupid early to film this video, and actually another video as well. I'm doing a couple back-to-back, so, well, yes, I'm prattling on because my mind is not quite fully awake yet. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and move on with my day. I'll start reading these shortly. But all that's left for me to do is remind you, of course, if you're interested in these, purchase links down in the What's It, where you can also subscribe, leave comments, ring the notification bell, give the thumbs up, all of those kind of YouTube things that help me out. Much appreciated. And other than that, all that's left for me to do is to remind you, as always, to take care and stay scared.